I'm Mark Andrew from Mark Andrew Limited down in North Cornwall near Bodmin. Been agricultural contracting for 25 years, been in business for 30 years. So we started off self-drive hiring a lot of machinery and doing a lot of agricultural repairs 30 years ago. And then 5 years into that, our local agricultural contractor, who I used to do a lot of repairs for, decided he was going to give up, approached me to see if I wanted to take the business on. So we ironed out a deal in the end. Yeah, so here I am now, 25 years later, with a fairly large fleet of machinery and staff. Got around about 25 full-time staff, 3 in the workshop, 3 in the office, myself floating around picking up all the pieces really. So we would do nearly every aspect of agricultural contracting, so slurry spreading, hedge trimming, a lot of baling, a lot of harvesting work with two-class Jaguar foragers. Yeah, a lot of umbilical work in the winter and a lot of hedge trimming. We also run 5 diggers, which fit in around the rest of the work really. So we're mainly agricultural contractors. So we started with a 6800 John Deere, an 856 International, and I think we took on 3 5140s cases, and a real good tractor that I should have put in the back of the shed was a 3650 John Deere, which I used to drive a lot myself. So when I took the business on, the man I took the business on from was a lot of dung spreading, a lot of tanking, and Raymond was one of the first people in Cornwall to have a self-propelled forage harvester, so you'd build up a good round on grass, a small round on maize. Wholecrop hadn't really kicked in by then, and we used to do a lot of hedge trimming back then. So the business in the last 25 years has branched out a lot. Also do a lot of self-drive hire of machinery, so our slurry tankers, our dung spreaders, our dump trailers, just basic machines would go out on self-drive hire. We started self-drive hiring tractors and things, but it's all got too expensive and too technical these days to hire tractors out. The cost of repairs, if you don't know the drivers, they could cook the brakes. We could soon have a £10,000 bill, and we've earned £2,000. So I just prefer not to hire tractors out. So we have a Class Jaguar 950 that's new to us this year, which we're very, very pleased with. And we have a Class Jaguar 940, which is a 2019 model, which we're very pleased with that machine as well. Gives us good output a day. If we're on the right farms, we would cover 200 acres a day. We have done more than that in a day, but generally I would say 200 acres is a good milestone for us really. Tractor-wise, we have 1 New Holland, 2 cases, and 10 John Deeres and 1 Class, and the faithful old Fiat that goes out when we're really busy. If I've got good drivers and they want a particular machine, I would go with that machine as long as I'm happy with that decision. Also to keep the dealers on their toes if you've got a few other machines in amongst really. Yeah, I'm always open to options, but the local John Deere dealer is very, very strong in hiring tractors as well. So when we do get an issue with a tractor, there's a replacement here very, very quickly. Yeah, so John Deere would be my pick of the bunch personally, just because of service, spare parts and backup. The reason for that was the road network down here really. If we had more output in the field, we would have more trailers on the road, and it's just trying to pass one another on the back lanes and their silage clamps. So there's been a huge investment in more cows on our farms that we go to, but the infrastructure, they're starting to get there now, putting bigger infrastructure in silage pits and things. So it's always in the pit is where we would get the hold up, not in the field. So I think 200 acres a day in Cornwall, given our road network, is a good output. So we're running a JCB 419S, which I believe is 4 years old now, which we're well impressed with that machine. So it's very manoeuvrable, and it's small enough to go loading dung and slurry and stuff in the winter. It's not massive, the torque is tremendous on it. And then for the second machine, we usually run a John Deere 185 or a 155 with front linkage and an all-butt butt brake, which seems to suffice, so I can utilise that machine in the winter doing other jobs. So the first harvester we had was a Class 940, and I think we've grown to know the machine, know how to maintain it, dealer is good. Class UK have always looked after me with great respect and give me good backup. And my driver, three of us drive the foragers really, one main driver with three of us jumping on the 940. We all know our way around it. In the 940s, we got the older style. I think that machine was on the changeover time of when you could get the old joystick or the new joystick. And we kind of preferred the old joystick at that time. So we got the new one in the 950, which the driver's well impressed with. I can't say because I haven't drove that machine yet. Not even moved it in the yard. That's a bit like it's got to now because I'm just too busy organising what the men are doing the next day. So we try and pride ourselves in, my men usually start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 8:30 in the morning they're all at the yard knowing what their day's work is.
Mark said you was coming this week sometime. We never said when.
Yes. Do you think you'd get nominated for the interview then, no?
No, I didn't think that, no.
Mark's a hard man to get hold of.
Yeah, he's a busy man, isn't
He says he's like dealing on a 11090, but I didn't fancy getting in the opposite him the other day with that sort of heat.
he? Oh, no.
It's pretty scenic up here.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Lovely views.
So how long have you been with Mark then?
About 14 years.
14?
Yeah, been here a day or two.
That's a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
And how long have you been in the harvester?
About 5. Ever since he bought the second machine, really.
So what age were you when you started with Mark?
I was 18. Then I went to college. And then I come back again 2011. Yeah, come on full time now.
You just started a trailer then?
Yeah, then I've done a little butt raking and that. Done that for years. Bit of baling, bit of foraging, all sorts really now.
You have your time well served then?
Yeah.
So what's the story with us farm here today?
Well, we've been coming here ever since I can remember. I only lived down the road. And we used to come up here and ride around when I was a kid.
Right. What is a big beef farm, dairy farm?
Dairy farm here.
So how long has it been running the two machines?
About 5 years now. Bought a second machine. First cut keeps getting earlier and earlier, and everybody wants to go at the same time. We do 2,500 acres of maize. What maize is like, that will come the same time as well.
So it's just for the flexibility then?
Yeah, and like now, Simon's on Wholecrop. We've got the other machine to go out on grass. So.
Both 940s?
No, the other one's 950. Used to have two 940s, a little bit bigger, a little bit more horsepower.
Never straight to a 970 or 980 then?
No, you won't buy one of them.
No?
No.
Why?
Too much horsepower for him, isn't it?
Is there such a thing as too much horsepower?
No, there's not. No, definitely not. More horsepower, get the job done faster.
Would there be much of a multi-cut system around this part of the world?
Yeah. You get a lot of people do like just one cut, like beef and that, but a lot of people do 2 cuts, and some will do 3, and then some will do 4.
Well, what is the main industry down this part of the world? Is it the beef or is it the dairy?
More dairy, I'd say. Probably more dairy, yeah.
Have you a farm at home?
No, I was brought up on like a little small holding. Got a few ponies,
Yes.
a few bullocks. Had about 15 acres together.
Much money on the ponies?
No. No, it's just more pets and anything.
Right, okay. I thought you were maybe entering the Grand National or something, no?
No, we had that many at one time, I think we could have, though.
Run the full 40?
Yeah.
So then how did you get into the tractor side of things then, if you're sort of a livestock man?
I don't know, always been fascinated by it. Always go out right round and watch them in the field. Yeah, something fascinating about them. A day like this, out driving around.
Yes.
Lovely, isn't it?
What else would you want to be doing?
Exactly.
So what's the story here with the tractors? You mix a John Deere and Class?
So that's the farmer's tractor there.
Right, okay.
We run mainly John Deere's. We've got one Class, 2 cases, and a New Holland.
Ah, you have a brave mixture of stuff.
Yeah,
What's the theory behind all the different brands?
I think it's just not having all the same eggs in the same basket, like, you know what I
Right,
mean?
okay. So if one breaks down, you can go to something else, or
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
everybody on their toes, sort of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And was always Class harvesters?
Yeah, we had various ones on demo and that, but always seems to be the Class. Just simpler and easier to work on, I reckon.
Right, okay. Compared to...
Well, just the simplicity of like, if you knock a blade back or something, you're in the amongst the drum within like a minute. You can do it outfield.
You're talking like a man that's done that a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. Who hasn't?
What would grass growth be like? That's part of the word. You know, is it normally a bulky thing, or?
Yeah.
So you see, typically whenever we're in England, everybody's filling to the other side. Why do you fill to this side?
Well, it's the only side to fill, isn't it? Oh, I personally, I just think there's better visibility.
Right, okay. I think there's not too much going on that side.
Yeah, like, you know, I mean, you can see the tractor that side. See the edge of your header. But there, you got your joystick, your screen.
Yes.
Your additives in the way. Same with like opening up a field with maize or whole crop. You can see the outside of your header better than that side.
Yep. So how many acres do you cut in a year?
A lot. I don't know what it would be. Do a lot of first cuts, like, and then like beef farmers as well.
Yes.
The second cuts, the third cuts sort of fizzle way out, and they just... Some of them do fourth cut.
We would be doing roughly, grass-wise, we'd be doing somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 acres a year. Maize, we would be around 2,000 to 2,500 a year. Whole crop, I did just look up that we'd done 1,000 acres last year, so we'd be somewhere around 750 to 1,000, I would say. Baling, I don't really know the bale numbers off the top of my head. There's a lot going on, and these guys have caught me at a real busy time this time that they've come down to see us. The weather is our biggest headache, that we do get a lot of rain in North Cornwall, hence our harvesting a lot of grass down here. We get good grass crops. So the last 18 months really has been a challenging time of weather, so that the forecasters just don't seem to be able to forecast next week. They say that next Tuesday is going to be dry, and when it comes to next Monday they change that, or even on the morning they change that. So it gives us some real challenges when you've got 20 machines to try and get it in the yard all different directions. You've caught us right on a real nice sunny hot spell where we're baling hay, straw, silage, whole cropping on grass with the other foragers. So yeah, there's a lot going on here at the moment. So yeah, mechanics, we would have nobody in doing anything other than warranty work, really. Very, very rare would we get the dealer in to do very much, really. So I have my brother in the workshop who runs a workshop. He's been a mechanic for 50 years. I have 2 apprentices from the local college who are coming along nicely, and I have another mechanic that's running alongside my brother full-time, and a part-time welder that comes in for 2 days a week just to keep the fleet going. It's surprising how many issues we would get in a day. So that was my start of my career. When I left school, I went and done an apprenticeship with a company called Burgess Farm Industries, and they were Fiat tractor dealers. So yes, I know my way around the spanner, and I think that's been part of our success to our business, is that I could make the decision whether to carry on with that machine if it's making a noise or something, that I know if it's got to stop, if there's a bearing gone in the gearbox, or if it's just a squeak, and that we could carry on. And also sourcing spare parts, that gave me a real good knowledge of where to source spare parts other than through the manufacturers. We're running K2 trailers. Used to be Marstons when we first started, so we were 10-ton Marstons for several years. Replaced those trailers twice, and the K2s have done us proud, to be quite honest. They're very, very stable, so I've had them on 6-leaf springs to keep them down low, because we have a lot of steep banks in Cornwall. So there's a lot of Stewarts, a lot of Baileys, a lot of Richard Westerns, and I would say that all 4 of those manufacturers, including K2, are all good trailers. You know what I mean? We come across them on a lot of farms we go. The farmers will pull a trailer of their own, or they'll pull one of mine. So we're fairly familiar with all the trailers, but when we made the decision to change from Marston, the K2 was a good product. So when we chose the first K2s we bought, we went for a 14-ton compact trailer, just so it's shorter, because we weren't sure. It looked huge compared against the 10-ton ones that we had, with the back lanes and the steepness of our field. So we soon learned and got some confidence with these trailers. So the second lot that we ordered, we had the 16 tons, which I would be confident to go for all 16 tonnes next time we go. So we've demoed a compactor, yeah, and I think that is something we would look at next time. There's a definite advantage to it, but there's a big price difference as well. So the Fiat, I've probably been looking at buying a Fiat for the last 10 years really, but whenever one's come along, it's always been a financial wrong time. So I wanted one that was fairly original, that no one had tarted up and everything else. And then Richard Paris on his advert had this one that he'd imported from Finland, which has not been messed around with. It's still as it was when it was new, really. So it's only done 2,500 hours, and it's my bit of fun. Fiat, I do like the Fiat. I would love to also try and find a older John Deere over the next few years and an older case. So yeah, what you seen me with yesterday. So we only do a very, very small amount of small bales, really. So we supply a lot of hay and straw and silage. We would sow every year. So we were just baling some hay to keep the horse customers happy. So that's an old baler that I bought off of a local farmer. We would probably only bale 3,000 bales a year, so I can't justify a new baler. But she goes on very well, really. We're running a Class 5200 and a Massey 2270 XD, which would be baling silage, haylage, straw. It's something we've gone into over the last 5 years, really. So we've always run 2 round balers. Historically, we were doing around 10,000 round bales a year. So now we've spread that out. The Massey baler would do all the miscanthus. It seems to make a real heavy bale in miscanthus. So I've got one driver, really, mainly, that jumps between the 2 big square balers. Yeah, and we're pleased how that's going. We've also got a McHale 998 high speed that goes along beside both of these machines, and it fills a little gap in the workload. We grow 1,000 acres of crops of our own, which we would sell to our local dairy farmers, and a tiny bit to a biogas plant that's local here. We also do a lot of work for them, spreading digestate and harvesting crops when they can't quite get to it to themselves. Right where I'm to here in North Cornwall, I'm right in a real good dairy industry area. So I would say probably 70% of my business would be around the dairy farmers. All the crops we grow ourselves would either be whole cropped, if it was corn, a lot of maize we would grow, and grass. We would usually bale the grass and sell that on a per bale. I would say that I've got all local lads really working for me, apart from one who has come down from Essex. He came down and had an interview, and I thought he seemed all right, and he's done it last season for me. Then he's been to New Zealand, and he's come back and done this season, and then he's heading back to New Zealand again for the winter. But he's fitted in very, very well, and yeah, been a good lad. To get good drivers, it is a struggle, and the dairy farmers that we're all working for are really struggling to find people in that industry. That they can find a main tractor driver, they can find a herdsman. It's the man in between that does the scraping up and the feeding and all those things. They're really, really struggling. I think that is going to be our biggest battle, is staff over the next 10 years. I just don't think that people want the workload and the dedication. You've got to be so dedicated to our job, because you could be in the yard all day until 6 o'clock in the evening because it's rained, and if the dairy farmer wants to go 6 o'clock in the evening and pick his silage up, we've got to be committed to go and do that job, because it could rain the next day, and the dairy farmers are all under immense pressure to get the job right so that their feed costs are good or low, and it makes a tremendous difference to their profitability for the year. So we've got a real good mixture around us here, really. So we work probably 50% out on the cliffs overlooking the sea, which is a lovely view and a lovely place to work. We've also got the Bodmin Moor right on our doorstep, which that's nice. Like, we take it for granted, all of this, really, because it's where we come from. But no, Cornwall's a real pretty place. Another issue we get is we get bombarded with people coming down on holiday, and the road network just gets jammed up, and they don't seem to be able to find reverse in the cars. It makes it very difficult for us. I think that in the next 10 years that I'm going to have a lot less customers, but those customers I've got are going to be big players. just with all the legislation that they're going to have thrown at them. I think that's what's happened in the last 10 years, really. Instead of having 2 slurry tankers, we have 5 slurry tankers. Instead of having 1 forager, we have 2 foragers. As their businesses have grown from 300 cows to 500 cows and then to 1,000 cows, we've had to grow with them. I think as an agricultural contractor, you try and offer the full, complete service to your customer, so you know where you are with them. So I think that I would like to stay the same size because it's taken a little bit of managing. I have a son who's coming along behind me, so I'm hoping that in the next 5 years that he'll take a little bit more pressure off of me, and I'll be able to get and enjoy things and go out and drive things again. So yeah, also we get involved with harvesting fodder beet, which is something I took on from another local contractor, I would say 7 years ago now. So we started off with a trailed machine that we had off of him. That was a Theragod T700, which served its purpose, but that business has grown tremendously. So then we went and bought a Varat 617 beet eater, which has been a tremendous machine. That one's done its 3 years for us now, or 4 years. So we have just bought a Grimmy self-propelled harvester for this season. So we're planning to run the 3 machines, the 2 self-propelleds mainly. We would be growing, I would say, 200 acres of our own beet, which would be sold to dairy farmers, and the rest of it is outside work. And I would say that we probably harvested 700 acres last year, which is lots of bits and pieces. So we would go one place for 5 acres, another place for 3 acres. They only want small amounts because it deteriorates in a short time. But no, it's give us some winter work. So I would keep 1 tractor on the road in the winter delivering beet most of the winter, really. And also the cleaning operation of the beet is kept men going in the winter.